America is not a racist country.
The entire hearing lasted no more than 20 minutes, but this,
Ms. Watkins, this charge against you is dismissed.
Is more than 30 years in the making for Joyce Watkins and Charlie Dunn. Watkins fought back tears with her attorneys from the Tennessee Innocence Project as she heard Judge Angelita Blackshear Dalton clear Watkins and Dunn of all charges.
It's been a long struggle, but I want to thank the DA's office. I want to thank Mr. Gagner here, the Innocence Project, and I'll thank all the people for their prayers.
It's a moment Jackie Dunn wished she could share with her father, who died in prison.
It's a bittersweet day. I wish my daddy was here to witness this day. He knew he was innocent. He knew that he did not commit those crimes.
Watkins and Dunn were convicted in 1988 after bringing her 4-year-old niece to the hospital. Doctors claimed the child had been raped and later died from her injuries. Now, just last month, Nashville's Conviction Review Unit called on new experts who claimed the evidence used against the couple was at best circumstantial, at worst deceptive.
Is there any medical evidence at all that tells you these injuries happened while this child was in the care of Joyce Watkins and Charlie Dunn?
No. Now Nashville District Attorney Glenn Funk says it's clear the wrong people were behind bars.
Fortunately, wrongful convictions are rare, but when they happen, they are real tragedies.
The couple spent 27 years in prison before Watkins was released in 2015. Dunn passed away in prison that same year. The Dunn and Watkins family have been close since the beginning, but even closer since last month. That's when, for the first time, they heard Watkins was offered a deal to testify against Dunn and avoid prison. She declined. When asked why, she said, because Charlie was innocent. We were innocent.
They always knew they were innocent. Their families always knew they were innocent. And now today, everybody knows they're innocent.
Too often, way too often, we see exonerations in America. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the big reason why I will not allow them to tell me Black crime statistics, Black people being in jail. I won't accept none of this from them. Only because, ladies and gentlemen, I remember looking at exonerations on TV, on the news, and in the newspapers when I was growing up. It just goes to show you how many decades this madness has been going on in America. And not to mention the fact that exonerations in America happens every single day. Every day you can pick up a story of an exoneration. Now, if it was maybe a few a year, all right. But when it's daily, no, that's a huge problem. It tells me any numbers that you're putting out about crime are heavily skewed. It tells me any numbers you put out about Black people being in prison are highly skewed. This is Joyce Watkins. Back in 1988, she and a man by the name of Charlie Dunn were arrested and convicted of a 1988 rape murder of a 4-year-old who was her grandniece. How did they get caught up in this? When they found the little girl, they took her to the hospital. The two people that took the child to the hospital were accused of raping and murdering her. They were just trying to get her some help. And ladies and gentlemen, just like all of these cases, they couldn't get anybody to listen to them. Let me just tell you something about that. You know, just like these folks are taught in the household to be a racist, well, part of that teaching is not to believe us, not to believe anything that we say. If we say anything, go check it, or just right on the spot of listening to us, just dismiss anything. That is all taught behavior. And you can tell many, if not the majority of them out here, have been taught to do that. We see you do this in schools. We see you do this out in stores and retail. We see you do this on jobs. Anything Black people say, you go out of your way to dismiss it first. That is taught. That's why you see it in so many of them. They are taught to do this to us. So it doesn't end when you're around them on a regular basis. This is how they get away with arresting and convicting a high number of Black men and women, mainly Black men, though, in America, because that's who they hate the most. So they go above and beyond to dismiss anything you say. Just understand they were taught that in their household. Their mothers and fathers are teaching them that. All right. So this happened in Tennessee. This poor woman and Charlie Dunn, the man that was arrested with her, he died in prison. That's why you only see her, but you're hearing his name, but you're not seeing him. He has passed away. Now, and that gives you something to think about too. How many innocent Black men have passed away and their cases were never heard? I bet you many. Many don't survive 4 and 5 decades behind bars. After more than 30 years, Joyce Watkins and Charlie Dunn have been cleared of their convictions involving murder and rape of Watkins' 4-year-old grandniece, Brandy. A report from the District Attorney Conviction Review Unit indicated how these convictions were partly a result of an aggressive and at times dishonest prosecution. No, it's the result of racism. It's the result of racism. Okay? Anything else in what you said is no truth in it. This is the result of racism in America. Okay? If it wasn't, you would see people all across the board wrongfully convicted, but you don't. And, him saying this is a rare occurrence. If it was rare, we wouldn't see exonerations every day. It's not, it's common. So a hearing was held on Wednesday at 9 a.m. where Judge Annalita Blackshear Dalton shared her official ruling to dismiss the charges against them. As a result, Watkins is no longer listed on the Tennessee's sex offender registry. Y'all got some damn nerve. You got some of these guys out here that have raped, and y'all give them probation, and many of them are not even on there. So, we will never know everything this poor woman has gone through behind bars. What a horrible thing. And at one point in time, ladies and gentlemen, they even wanted her to testify against Charlie Dunn, the man that was arrested with her and also wrongfully convicted. She flat out refused to do it because she said he didn't do anything. The only thing he did was help her take her grandniece to the hospital. So as you saw, the woman that was crying on the video, that was Charlie Dunn's daughter. So of course he's now in the grave. He'll never know that he's been exonerated, right? So of course it was a bittersweet day for her, and I can understand how she feels. And mm, mm, mm. So she said, "It's a bittersweet day. I wish my daddy was here to witness this day. He knew he was innocent. He knew he did not commit those crimes. He lost his mother and two brothers, his sister, and his son. So many people lost, and he was innocent. He died in a place he was never supposed to be," Dunn said. She's right about that. So her case was taken up by, as you heard on the video, the Innocent Project. And ask yourself, ladies and gentlemen, if they weren't putting a lot of people in jail, why would you need an organization like the Innocent Project? Because they know there's a lot of innocent people behind bars, and they know it's due to racism. They know. If you weren't doing this, an Innocent Project wouldn't be necessary. Wow. And then y'all sit around talking about believe in your system. You got some nerve getting in any black man, woman, or child's face telling them to believe in this crap that you set up. You set this whole system up to jail one group of people, and that's it. And now you're finding this one group of people are always the ones being exonerated. Y'all don't take no numbers and statistics on black people and this and that. Don't accept that from these folks. You really got to move away from that. The case, it began unfolding in 1987 when the couple picked up Brandy up from another family member's home, and she was staying for 2 months. Watkins said she brought the girl back to Nashville, and 9 hours later, Brandy was unconscious. She noticed blood in Brandy's underwear, a sign of bruising. Doctors found signs of rape and trauma, which attorneys determined was enough to charge Watkins and Dunn. Wow. So, new experts testified last month that the original medical examiners used discredited methods, not rooted in science, to suggest Brandy was in the care of Watkins and Dunn when she was raped. And see, we always talk about the police, the judge, the prosecutors, as people we can't trust. Many of these medical examiners ain't no good either. Look at the insurrection. 5 people died. 5 people, right? Nobody charged with the murders. Nobody. Nobody's charged. So the medical examiner said it was no one's fault. Really? So you can't go by that either. I remember a story. This must have been like around 2011, somewhere around there. They had this, and I believe it was an Asian woman, and she was a medical examiner, and she would always make sure her report would match what the police said. And a whole bunch of wrongful convictions took place because of that. And then, of course, when it got found out, they put all the blame on her and not one single police officer that lied on reports. I mean, this is what they do. This is America. This is the real America. So, this is what this old shady ass medical examiner did. So now they're saying, information that came out of the medical examiner at that time is unreliable testimony, misrepresented facts to the jury, and faulty medical conclusions. It doesn't help that these folks are never arrested. They never face any consequences when they are found out lying. So what, this medical examiner got to retire and go off on their merry way? I mean, this is how they do things in this country. The other fact that Dunn was a male in Brandy's presence shortly before her death, there is utterly no evidence suggesting Mr. Dunn's guilt, according to the report. Judge Dalton agreed there was no compelling scientific evidence that Watkins and Dunn committed the crimes and that the medical report at the time was inaccurate. Before she was dismissed, Nashville District Attorney Glenn Funk told the court that it's clear the wrong people were behind bars for all these years. Yeah, and they need to sue. They should be able to sue the city for this wrongful arrest. I mean, look how many years this woman, she's coming out of prison, an elderly woman. All right, she went in there in her 40s and she's coming out an elderly woman. No, you should be smacking down them. No, for every year she was in there, you need to be pulling up $1 million for her for every single year. How do they restore? And Charlie Dunn, he got no chance of being compensated. He's dead. Who the hell? I mean, damn. And they said when Charlie Dunn died, he was waiting to be granted parole. That's a damn shame. Dunn and Watkins' family have been close since the beginning, but even closer since this last month. And that's when, for the first time, they heard Watkins was offered a deal to testify against Dunn to avoid prison, but of course she declined, and I don't blame her. They always knew they were innocent. Their families knew they were innocent. So you heard what the attorney said. So the whole conviction has been overturned, and man, I wish this woman nothing but blessed days ahead for everything that she has gone through. What a terrible thing. And these folks don't give a care in the world that they have done this to our people for many decades in this country since they had prisons. That's why they came up with the remedial laws like vagrancy, or you went to jail because you didn't have a job and stuff. They had to do anything they could to fill up these jails and keep you in bondage. I'm just glad none of the family members stood around with that I forgive you stuff. That's why I got mad respect for Ahmaud Arbery's mother. She didn't get on that. Unfortunately, Black Christians in America are trained and conditioned, and pastors are teaching them to forgive white people because y'all don't forgive anybody else. Y'all just harp on and forgive white people only. That's why we can't find videos of you forgiving everybody, but we can certainly find videos of you forgiving white people only. Ladies and gentlemen, please tell me what you think about this story. I get tired of these stories. I got tired of doing them. But there are so many that have never even been heard on this channel. But I try to do the best that I can to let you see the faces that have been wrongly jailed in America. America, you got a lot of blood on your hands. You got a lot of evil on your hands. And your payday is here. You can't get your country back to save your mama's life right now. And it's only going to get worse. A judgment that was a long time coming. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.